Hello, Gemini. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully your day or evening is getting off to a fantastic start. I can't wait to begin our reading today. Lots of great information coming through already. As you can see, your totem today is going to be the moth, which I was doing some research and found some really interesting information on. I can't wait to share that as well. Here's a little Apollo, sending lots of love and light to all of you. Welcome to your monthly reading. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. And what we're going to be covering today is the energy for the next 6 to 8 weeks, which is going to help all of us make better choices to really embrace the opportunity. And one thing that I always like to remind you is you are a creator in your life. So today I'm going to help you do just that, create some great things, okay? So first things first, let me just, like I said, introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to begin with channeled messages at the very beginning, and that comes through dreams, meditations, and also my research as I'm looking into your totem. And then we'll get into your Celtic cross and a lot of other interactive elements, which I'll discuss as we get a little closer to those. If you'd like to stay in touch, please follow me on social media. It's a great way to know when I put out new videos. And of course, if you're not already a part of the notification family, please do that right now. Especially clicking the bell and the subscribe button, because that's going to make sure that as I do impromptus, which I can do more of in this space, you'll be informed of those. And once I post the schedule on the community tab, you'll get a notification for that. Also, a reminder on social media that I don't offer private readings or ever use direct messages. So if anybody does that, report them, let me know, and don't fall for that, because there's a lot of people out there pretending to be people that they're not. If you'd love to show some support, you can do that actually right here through YouTube using Super Chat, Super Stickers on Facebook. There's a feature called Stars on Instagram, Badges. You should really stick with the in-system methods. Like I said, avoid at all costs direct messages. Let's see if there's anything that we've missed. I think that's it. I will be putting up a schedule on my website in just a few, probably by today or tomorrow, because I've just been unpacking. In fact, I still have a bunch of boxes there. I'm about 50% done. I want to get done by this weekend. Let me grab my glasses, which I left in the other room. So I'll leave you with Apollo for a second, and then we'll get started. So one moment. Sorry about that. In order for me to see what's going on the screen, I definitely need my glasses. Okay, so we're going to get into the channeled messages next. Channeled messages, like I said, it's basically me talking with my guides and connecting with your guides, looking at the energy that's touching your sign this month. And it really is one of evolution. We have the moth coming through, which is one of those, it's actually an ancient sort of insect, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. All right. So let's get the presentation set up here and share the screen. Okay, so today your insect and your nature totem is the moth. It's teaching us the importance of adapting, persevering, and evolving. And also, being that it's in the air, I think it's perfectly suited for you. So let's talk a little bit more about this. So its ancestor, the present-day moth, kind of came out of the swamps and the waters around 300 million years ago and started to feed on the moss and the plant sort of material that was available right around the swamps, and then eventually took flight. Its primary predator, both then and now, is the bat. And it was hunted by sound, basically. As you know, the bats hear and see mostly through high-frequency sounds. So moths started to counter-evolve and say, all right, well, you're doing that, well, we'll jam the frequencies. and then also created like counter-maneuvers in their flight patterns. And in addition to that, it's theorized that they are also the ancestor for modern butterflies. Some of them simply decided to take advantage of the flowers that were open during the day. They already had that straw-like mouth, and so some of them started to evolve to be in the daylight. So this insect has all of these amazing capabilities. It can fight back, it can change, it can completely change its schedule if needed, and it basically has this capacity, like it's like the Energizer Bunny commercial, where it just keeps going and going and going, but it also tries new things. And of course, we're not even touching upon the whole cocoon sort of phase, going from caterpillar to adult moth. We're just looking at how, as an insect, this wonderful, majestic creature has survived and evolved and continues to be present on the planet. In fact, there's many more species of moths than there are butterflies. We just see them because we're awake, but there's still more moths than butterflies. So what is this teaching us? Well, basically to see and also to be change. Be the change in your life. Don't wait for change to come to you. Don't wait for change to happen. Don't complain when the change is happening. Look at the warning signs. The tower happens when we've waited too long. And it can happen to any and all of us. For me, the most recently, it was where I was dealing with things from a family member who had passed away, and I needed to get out of my current living situation, but I waited longer than I needed to. And so literally I was seeing the building kind of fall apart around me. So you can live in a literal sort of tower moment, or it can just be you not prioritizing yourself. If you're a mom or a dad and you have all of your energy going to work and to raising your family, your health can be the tower. If you're also working really hard and you're not spending time with your partner, the relationship can kind of be in the energy of the tower, and we see the two people getting ejected from that. The cool thing with the tower is it shakes you a little bit and says, wake up, you can do better than this. So well beyond the ejection button that we see with those two people kind of popping out, you can, I always talk about the tower also being like a tidal, not a tidal wave, like just a wave in the ocean where you could ride as a surfer. So if you imagine it as that rather than the tidal wave, just like a normal wave, then you're able to do something amazing with it and not feel this sense of, oh my God, what am I going to do? Or cleaning everything up after it happens. So you can use the element of surprise to your benefit. You can do counter maneuvers like we were seeing with the moths. This is your chance to really be crafty. And in fact, this is a great segue into the next card, which is to just try new things. I chose the King of Wands rather than the Fool on this because he's a good strategist. He's a good inventor. He's bold. So this is a time to be bold. So the moth proved to be both an explorer and an innovator. I'm leaning into the innovation here with this particular slide. Break free of what's predictable. Focus on creating something different, something new, inventive. Truly connect to what you're doing on a heart and a soul level, because if you don't feel it, the universe is asking you, why are you doing this, right? Then you can be pushy, because the moth did fight back, and it wasn't just fighting for the sake of fighting. It's sort of like, no, this is my life, this is what I want. So it pushed back, and again, jamming frequencies, counter maneuvers. It was doing all these sort of cool things that you don't always see in nature. Competition is part of how things happen on this planet. Basically natural selection, the strongest particular species will typically survive and win unless there's no competition. From some of my other, and I'm not a biologist and I'm not a scientist, but I do a lot of research in the totems, the reason that we see marsupials so much on the continent of Australia is because it's an island nation and there wasn't a lot of predators coming from other land masses, so a different type of animal could develop there. So sometimes when there's an absence of predators, then other things can come through. But typically speaking, we're going to see common traits because we've all gone through the same thing. So fight for what's important. If you're trying to find a job right now, this can indicate competition, but you're one of those people that's in sort of consideration. So put your best foot forward and keep putting one foot after the other. That's the final card that I'll show at the end of this slide, but that's the important piece here. Also pick and choose your battles wisely. Not everything's worth fighting for, but the things that are worth fighting for, push through. You've got the power, you've got the energy. Listen, research, and absorb. Part of the reason that the moth is amazing is it has a really finely tuned hearing. In the realm of 300 kilohertz, and it's 15 times what we can hear. We're around 20 kilohertz when we're maybe in our 20s, and then it goes downhill as we get older. So what they signify here is Page of Swords, but Page of Swords when it's listening, not speaking, because pages can both send and receive messages. So research, listen, and take your time, take in the surroundings. Listen before speaking, research before acting, and observe before coming to any major conclusions. Very, very, very important pieces that are missed often with this card. Get some perspective, Eight of Cups here. Walk away, but not permanently. Just sort of clear your mind. A lot of times if we're in the middle of a heated argument, or there's a lot of stress, or there's a lot of things that you're focusing on, and you feel like I'm just so fixated on the deadline or this or that I can't remember what I'm trying to do, take a break. Eight of Cups can also constitute like a sabbatical or a short holiday, one where you intend to come back, but you really need that space to just understand where you're at. I believe that if you don't do this, you just continue going forward, hoping for the best, and sometimes serendipitous, quote unquote, luck will come through. But I think it's more impactful and powerful when you create your luck, when you create a synchronicity, and then you're prepared for it. And that's the true elevated form of luck, which it's not really luck. It's just saying, yeah, let's step through this, rather than, oh, that came along, what should I do about it? So let's leave less to chance and create your luck. And that's really what, again, kind of an extension of today's totem is trying to teach us. And finally, and most importantly, and then we'll get into the Celtic cross, if you can approach each day as a reset, it will be so much more amazing, because you're not carrying with you baggage. And the Fool can be a lot of things, but it's not tied down by its baggage. We see a little knapsack there, carefree, carrying that flower from the flag that we see in death. So it's a new start, letting go of the old, and just going forward, right? So simply take one step after the other, do one thing on your list after the other, and sooner rather than later, you're going to see progress with respect to your goals, to your dreams, etc. And I think that sums up everything for today's channeled messages, and I hope that proved helpful here. Okay? And yeah, welcome to my new place. Every sign, it's going to be new for many of you. You haven't seen it. So still getting set up. I've started to put some plants in the background, and I'll warm it up as we get going. Like I said, I'm still unpacking my boxes. I'm definitely in that energy of the Fool that we just saw there a moment ago. Okay, so let's see which deck you wanted me to choose today. I had enough time this morning to go ahead and put a little bit of a poll up there for us. So give me a second just to see where we're at. How is everybody today? Hopefully you're enjoying your day and things are going all right. And if not, we're going to sort it out, so don't worry about it. All right, so let's see which one is in the lead. We have Star Seeker Tarot. Okay, fantastic. So let's end that poll and let me grab that deck. This is a really beautiful images on this particular deck, so I think you're going to like it. Well chosen, everybody. Well chosen. Pretty close today. I saw for a while Spellcasters in the lead because I don't use it that often, and I was curious if that was going to be the one for today. Okay, so let me get everything set up, and we'll go from there. Again, we're looking at the Celtic cross, which can be for the next 6 to 8 weeks. So just sit back, enjoy, and let me pull all the cards for you. All right. Got the Seven of Wands coming through there, which was part of our channeled messages. By the way, thanks so much to all that are giving super stickers. I'm going to do a little shopping spree later today where I get some new decks. Hopefully I'll have those for at the earliest on the weekend, but maybe by next week I'll start to have some new decks to put up there for consideration. I'll also say thank you at the very end of the reading. I just like to focus on the messages here first, because I know we all want some new decks, and so do I. So I just needed to get into a new space first. All right, let me just move the keyboard here. I should start to resume the shorts as well. I just needed, like I said, to prioritize getting settled first. So thank you for being patient as I did all of that. Very interesting energy coming through with health here with the groundhog. Should I stay? Should I go? All right, let's take a look at all your cards and all your messages. We're going to begin with the catalyst. The catalyst functions as, interestingly enough, a connective thread or an umbrella that basically brings everything together. And what we're seeing with this is pushing through a phase where it feels like there's a lack of clarity. It might be even for some of you what we would call like a dark night of the soul, where there's been a lot of stuff that you've been going through, and then suddenly we see the rainbow coming through here at the other end. And so the most important thing for you is to hold true and hold, I would say, faithful to the understanding that that rainbow is coming. It is there. It is within reach. Even if on a day-to-day basis, sometimes you just feel like, why is it taking so long? So you are headed in the right direction. Anything that you've been through up to this point will not only be context, but it's also going to be helpful in avoiding repeating this. So as long as you learn from an experience, it's energy well spent. Sometimes you look back and you think, God, that could have been so much easier if I did this, this, or this. But you will do that in the future. So everything has a reason and a season, and I do see better energy on the horizon for you. We need rain to see a rainbow. So it looks like you're partway through that storm, if not completely. So let's start focusing on bringing in the light, okay? Because the spectrum of colors was always there. We just need to reveal it with the light. All right, let's go ahead and see how we can focus on creating that light and moving through some of the challenges. By the way, you may be okay, but there could be something that you're holding on to from the past. The thread can indicate like a karmic thread or a connection that's weighing you down, but it's a very thin one. So I do believe that you've worked through a lot of the energy, and it's just a matter of release. And oddly enough, the release is often the hardest piece, right? Okay, so yeah, we got, that's the second time we saw the lion coming through. I actually featured it with the King of Wands. So really strong energy with, and a lot of sort of bravery too here as well. Okay, let's go to the center here. We have the Knight of Pentacles. This is one of the coolest illustrations for the Knight of Pentacles. The card is reversed. So what it's saying is I'm going to take a break, I'm going to take a step backward, and I'm going to look at how I've spent and invested time, energy, money, love, basically my resources. And with this, look at all those little stepping stones. You're going to look and see, have these situations or these investments proved successful or fruitful? If they haven't, I'm going to take back the energy, or I'm going to redirect the path, because there may be a better path than the one that I am currently on or have been taking. So the main opportunity here as we look at the next month to month and a half for you is, if you're driving your car, it's basically a check of two different routes on the GPS. Should I go this way? Should I go this way? This one is shorter, but involves a lot more, turning in this. This one may be a little bit longer, but the view is better. You're going to try to figure out what you're gaining and what you're losing with your current trajectory and adjust it if necessary. It's also saying I might want to put some more time and energy on myself, like exactly what we were talking about at the beginning for all of you that are busy. So if you've been prioritizing the health and the well-being of others, then this is really about making sure that you're not getting sort of skipped in this journey, that you're okay, and that's going to be an important piece to this as well. And if we just look at the card that's crossing it here in the center, we have the Hermit. So for some of you, you've been kind of keeping some things under wraps. You may have hidden gifts, hidden wishes, something new that you want to embark upon, and it's kind of been under wraps. So this could also be a time to announce or to release that into the world here. So if that's the case for you, then perfect timing, and this is just a confirmation of that, okay? Let me see if there's anything else with respect to this. One last thing that I'm looking at with this beautiful card is that sometimes we can feel very much overwhelmed by how long it might take to get into a certain position, or how long it might take for us to do something in comparison to someone else. And I would say that is their journey and this is yours. Each has their blessings, each has their challenges. So focusing more on what you can do and why you're doing what you're doing, that is going to be so much more helpful in getting what needs to be done. So that's the advice with that. This is a moment for you to really integrate. The Hermit card at its core is about understanding, integration. When I'm looking at that one, it's almost as if he's holding looks to me like the Milky Way. I really love that illustration, but we basically find the light within, and this is a nice answer. If this was the call, this is the answer. How do I get through this? You already have what it takes. So this is someone else that also could be pushing sort of like more doubt or fear, the darker energy, and so you are like the lighthouse, something I used to talk about a lot when I first started off, like all of us being the lighthouses as light workers, and that's what this Hermit is doing. It's basically coming through and saying, I see your fear, I see your darkness, I see all of that, and I match it with this, with insight, with hope, with an answer. So you're going to find the answer within, what it is that you want, who it is that you are, and you're going to be willing to walk the path alone if you need to, but you're not going to necessarily need to be alone. But the Hermit's okay. It takes some time by itself to just say, I love who I am, and I don't need external validation to be okay with that. And once the Hermit has that energy, it can be anything else in the major arcana, but it has to be cool with itself first. And if we think of the journey of the Fool to the stage of the Hermit, it's already gone through the magic energy of the Magician and the High Priestess, and the power energy that we see with Emperor, Empress, and Hierophant. So it doesn't need permission anymore, right? It's strong, it's self-sufficient, and that's the message for you. You've gone through all of those pieces of the journey of the Fool, and now you are the wizard. Right? Now you can do anything you want because the Hermit is a wizard, basically. Very, very connected to all the power cards that we just talked about. All right. That was kind of a powerful side message there. Let's now get into what's going on. Past energies and then where you're headed. I really like where you're headed. I think you already know some things are happening here, Judgment and the Knight of Swords, so we see movement for sure. Let's look at what could be adjusting or affecting the speed with which you're moving, okay? So looking at deep past, I talked about competition and work. So we have the Seven of Wands. We saw that card that I was pulling from the Modern Witch deck, where the more traditional Seven of Wands is that sideways pose. Let me just pull it up in the slide presentation because I did have that ready. So we can look at that, and then I'll contrast it with this card. So here's the traditional Seven of Wands. Here is the reimagined one. It's reversed, but let's just look at it upright so you can really take in how these two differ. So you see here she's actually holding up two wands to represent the Two of Wands, and then the work behind her has already been done, the Five. So she's saying, I've already been here, and I'm also, if there's people around her that are challenging her, she's saying, this is why we're doing what we're doing. It's a leadership card. So what you're going to step forward with is a new or bold idea. You're going to keep people aligned to the task. And even without the title of leader, let's say you're applying for a job, you can show how you've led in the past. If you're in a current job or relationship, even if you're not typically the one that takes charge, in this moment in time, you're being set up and encouraged to step into that power role. So she's standing there firmly with the two wands saying, I am what I'm trying to create. This is going to happen. We are going to do this. And when someone's really confident, persistent, and pushy in that way, aligning to vision, not so much dictating, say, we agreed to do this. Let's finish what we've started. That's a more powerful way to push than, you said you're like, do it, it's late. Instead, you're going to say, no, together we deserve to see this through to its completion. Be bold, be aligned, and also encourage people rather than just sort of dictating out that they're missing their deadline. That's something that's missed a lot of times in corporate environments. It's just a focus on delivery, not so much on why you're delivering. So someone may be losing sight or losing focus, could be you, could be someone around you, with why you're doing what you're doing, and then it just feels like work. You take two of those wands from the Seven of Wands and you're just back to working for the sake of working. So realignment to purpose, to goal, is going to help speed things up a little bit, okay? So that's the main thing here. And that's what we see as we go into the next card here. So that was deep past lesson. As we're looking at recent past, we have the Nine of Wands reversed, so things are getting a little bit easier. There is definitely an energy of you pushing, because upright, this is a card of defense and perseverance. Reverse, it's saying, yeah, I really need to push, and it may be a little bit harder than it usually is here. Now we have a Nine of Wands coming through, which again is a survivor card and a perseverance card. We see the snake on that one wand showing that you're going to find inner strength that you didn't anticipate. So even if it's been hard and you're wondering, how can I do this? Fear not. You've either done it before in a past lifetime, or you know exactly through intuition how to do it in this lifetime. I'm just going to pull the traditional Nine of Wands here, because it also carries with it some other important notes, which I'll talk about while I'm finding it. Namely, that you want to take care of your mental health. One thing that happens with the Nine of Wands is we tend to sometimes overwork ourselves and get migraine, or that lack of clarity that I was talking about by focusing so much on the deadline, the timeline, all of that stuff. So here's the traditional card. You can see the bandage on his forehead. And so mental health definitely is one of the things that we want to focus on, making sure that you're not stressed out too much. This one is saying, take a break and find the inner strength. It almost looks like she's praying or going back into that introspective energy that she would have learned when she was in the hermit here, and that's where the power is going to exist here. So go within, remember you have the strength to do it. Prayer and meditation can be very effective techniques in order to find that, and then let some of that go a little bit. One thing that I like to remind folks of with wands is when you feel overburdened, overwhelmed, you can always let one go in wands, and you're still, pretty much every card in wands is successful, right? From the ace to the 10. You're moving forward, you're finding something. So let's say you're in the Nine of Wands, you delegate one thing and then you're back into productivity, Eight of Wands. And if Eight of Wands still feels like it's a lot, let go of a little bit more, and then you're in the Six of Wands, which is success. Doing less but doing it better could be part of what's going on here. So with both the 7 and the 9, you're either going to add a little bit with the 9 and finish it, or you're going to take away a little bit with the 7 and go to success. And that's what I would say is the opportunity. Reach out, ask for help, or let go or focus a little bit and do more, but do less, but do it better. More isn't always better. Sometimes more is just more. So that's something to think about here. Be smart about how you're working. Don't let somebody push you. You are the one that is initiating things this month. Don't be pushed, because these cards in reverse are pushy, so you're going to push back gently in words and actions, and sometimes in deciding not to overreact to something. You can simply validate that you've heard them. I hear what you're saying. I've taken note. Duly noted. But that doesn't mean you have to do what they say. So just acknowledge what is being said and then do what you need to do. Looking at the top here, we have the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is upright, but it's actually already starting to fall apart here a little bit. So let's look at this card. You'll see here one of the sort of like, one of the swords that would basically constitute the prison is already falling apart. So it's always that way with the Eight of Swords. Typically there's a way out, but the prison that we build is in our head. We paint ourselves into a corner or lock ourselves into a corner with thoughts that are reductive and limiting. This won't work. I don't have enough money. I'm not popular enough. This never happens. I always experience, it's like all of these things that just like one sword after another until you're stuck. So let it go. And I've talked a lot over the past couple months about changing questions into statements and changing them into positive statements. So especially if it's, I'm not pretty enough, just say, what does looks have to do with it? I am talented, and why can't I do this? Has anyone said, you start to talk yourself into a positive position, and then just say, this is not important, I'm gonna do this. So let those thoughts go, question the questions and question them with the positive. Why should that matter is what I would say to you. Why are you sure that this is true? Are you sure this isn't a projection? Let's give it a shot, okay? Eight of Swords is also saying, I'm comfortable with a certain level of ambiguity. Not everything is going to be put out in black and white on the paper. So there are some things with respect to growth that just require taking a leap, taking a little bit of a risk and knowing that it's going to be okay at the end of the day, right? So Lily, let's let that go, because looks are important to a degree, but not exclusively. Case in point, have you ever tried something and you thought it would taste a certain way and it's sour or it's not what you thought? Have you ever talked to someone who's beautiful but they don't have empathy or great communication skills? Looks matter to a degree, but at a certain point, if there's nothing that can match that, that will not be enough. It is shallow, it is surface. You scrape it and there's something else beneath it. So looks don't matter at the end of the day when it comes to, is this going to be enough? They only get you so far. I won't discount that looks can open a door, but they won't keep the door open. Your integrity, your soul, your knowledge, your application of skills, that keeps the door open. So it's beyond looks, so you have to look beyond that. That's surface, and that's just base level, okay? So, and that is a projection. And I'm not just kind of calling you out. I just don't want that to exist in chat and someone to see that and then think, but that's it. That's a fear. And here we're working through the fears. So, what I would do with that is like think, why am I so fixated on that? I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was, I got to think of her name, Lisa Kudrow from Friends. And she was talking about insecurities that she felt with wardrobe fittings, because there were a lot of beautiful people on that show, and she didn't know as much about sort of like how to get things taken in and everything. But years later, she was like, you know what? This is just how I look, and I'm fine with that, and I don't need to. She realized that there was like some dysmorphia issues because of projections, because of all of these expectations, and it doesn't matter. The reason that her character was amazing is she was funny. Yeah, she was pretty, but she was also really funny. And it was her humor and her quirkiness and her zaniness that made her the amazing character, not how she looked, not solely how she looked. So let's look at the inclusive piece. That's one piece of the pie, not the whole thing. And if we make it the whole pie, then we're missing the important pieces, right? So just a little aside. All right, let's focus on what's coming through next. This is your near future. The Knight of Swords is an amazing card to come through in a spread, particularly if we connect it to the Judgment card, because this is saying movement, and this is saying movement because I want it, because I believe it, because I know it's going to happen, because I've accepted this, because I believe that there is a chance to rise above the ashes. So the moment you decide, things happen. The universe has been waiting for your decision. So simply decide, I want it now, I'm ready now, or I'm going to do this now, and then new doors start to open up for you, okay? So are you ready, and do you know what you want? When was the last time you sat down and thought to yourself, without a shadow of doubt, I'm ready for this. I know I want this. This is going to happen. Not in a sort of like, not in a way that is unrealistic, but in a way that is resolved. I am resolving to do this. I am ready to do this. Because when you have that sense of absolution, like it's, yes, this is it, then it's easy for people to get behind you. Leaders that are very, very confident, very sure, it feels good to be led by them. They've done their work. You feel good. You're just ready. You know what you need to do. And so the more you can do that, the better. So I see movement coming through, but there's a decisiveness and a strength with this knight that I don't always see. He's also got like one eyebrow up, which is saying he's not afraid to ask a question. So if something doesn't quite sound right, he's going to say, hey, I'm on board, but let's just do me a favor. Can we look at this, or have we talked about this? So if you have a question, ask, speak up. So, and as a knight, you can still move things forward, ask that question, and not lose a lot of time, okay? Looking next at your how you're showing up in your heart, your soul, here we have the Knight of Wands. So two knights so far. We've got the Knight of Swords, and now we've got the Knight of Wands. I love that this knight almost reminds me of of a mer person here, because we're looking at I don't really see legs. It kind of looks like a mermaid or a merman. And they're going between the different elements, which is kind of cool too. So you may find yourself 1 foot in or one flipper in and one flipper out of 2 different situations. And really what the universe is saying is, which do you choose? We didn't get the 2 of Pentacles, but we may as well have. Because with that particular Knight card, I see you jumping between 2 different hoops or 2 different elements or 2 different opportunities. And the universe is really saying, what do you want? Which one's for you? What do you choose? And that is where things are going to start to get interesting and powerful for you. So what do you choose? What do you want? That's the question in this moment in time. The other thing with the Knight of Wands that I see here is, again, an opportunity for leadership. And Knights are very approachable. They're very sort of, I would say, very engaging cards to pull here. So I feel like, unlike the Knight, the King or the Queen, you have a chance to pull people in a way that isn't overwhelming, doesn't feel like you are trying to like take all of the sort of the limelight. There's a leadership opportunity for you if you're ready, but it's only if you're ready. So I guess the question for you is, what's holding you back, or what's next, or what do you want to do here? But you are coming through as a leader, as someone who can do a lot, and I guess some specialization or some clarification on what you want to do specifically is coming through with this. Okay? All right, let's focus on what's coming through in the environment for you. And we have the 4 of Cups reversed. 4 of Cups reversed is actually pretty good. 4 of Cups upright is, why am I here? What else could there be? Comparison. When it's reversed, it's saying, I see the hidden blessing. And now what do I want to do about that? Now there's a different sort of existential question, which is, do I want to try something new? Because now I know that this is good and that there's stuff here, but now there's something new and unexpected here. How do I feel about that? So the 4 of Cups is always questioning, but now it sees a new opportunity, and the universe just wants to know, are you staying or are you going? And we actually got that with the groundhog, and it says time to let go. So for some of you, you're still holding on to something a little bit, and there's a chance here, it's more mental now than anything, there's a chance to let go if you're ready. As we look at hopes, fears, and opportunities, we actually have an opportunity, an Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands could be a new job. It could be love interest. It could be an idea. The card is reversed, so there's questions here. Maybe you are wondering mentally if this is a good fit. If it's a relationship, there may not be attraction. It may be more platonic, and you want to be honest if that's the case. There's something here where you're second guessing it. And I think the most important thing for you would be to use the energy of the moth, which is to perceive. So close your eyes for a second and just think, how do I feel about it? To the person that was talking about looks, forget about what you're seeing and focus on what you're feeling. Because what looks good on paper or what looks good physically may have something else that's not clicking energetically with you. So I'm glad we got that question, and this is actually another answer to it. How do you feel? Forget about what it looks like in black and white. Forget about what it looks like on the surface. How do you feel? And this is also true in relationships. Someone can be very attractive, but you may not be attracted to them. A situation may look really, really good, but you may not be attracted to it. So there needs to be mutual attraction this month. I see opportunities abounding. Be picky, be discerning, be honest. And if something doesn't fit or doesn't feel right, then let it go. And yeah, someone's talking about platonic relationships. I just did a read on that too. So you can always see if the person is open to be just friends, if that's what you're feeling. But you should really want to feel like you want to jump in if it's a job or a relationship or something new. It has to feel right. Ultimately, what a great card to end with. Judgment is an amazing card. We actually see her rising from the flames here. So in many decks, it's a phoenix, and we have personification of the phoenix here with this Judgment card, a person rising from the ashes. In the traditional deck, you would see souls rising from the dead with the angel like Gabriel or Michael kind of in heaven announcing that there's a new day. So it's showing like, hey, this is a new beginning for you, which is what I said with the Fool. Judgment can work for that too. In many cases, judgment is even a little bit more powerful. Let's give Apollo a little pet and see what he's doing.
What are you doing, buddy? Huh? Need a little bit of love?
All right, so Apollo's reminding us too, sometimes we just have to let it go. We're holding on to things that we don't need to hold on to. The question here with judgment is, how do you feel about it? Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe it's possible? Because if you don't, then it's going to be hard to rise up. It's going to be hard for that next opportunity to sort of shine through in the way that you want it to. So this is a checkpoint with you to see, are you truly ready? Are you truly connecting and believing? And sometimes we don't get a choice with judgment. It's just given to us. And it's really less about, do I agree with what happened, and more, what do I want to do next? This isn't it, now what? So the decision is with you. Again, ultimately, we're going to go into this in a second, to stay or to go. Nice segue into the next portion, not channeled messages, sorry, the expanded forecast, where we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and get some additional insights in what's going on. Okay, we're going to begin with the health card, and I always like to disclaim that what I'm really looking at is healthy decisions, healthy ways of thinking. Obviously, if you're having anything going on in your physical body or your mental space and you need assistance, you'll want to work with a professional. But let's look and see what the energy is telling us that we should be focusing on right now. So, groundhog coming through here. Of course, here in the United States, we have this, it's more like a ceremonious holiday, Groundhog Day. The groundhog doesn't really talk, and it's not really anything, but it's that whole idea, is winter over, or is there still like, a couple months of winter, 6 more weeks or something, like 6 or 8 weeks of winter. So with the card in reverse, it already says what to do at the bottom. It says it's time to go. With the card in reverse, it's saying, it may be time for me to go, but I'm not ready yet to let go. And so for some of you, there is this feeling of stagnation. So the winter, being held back from growth. And the opportunity, of course, being that you can move on whenever you're ready. Now is the time. Why not go for it? So the only thing that I can kind of help you with respect to this is if we go back to the original channeled messages, which I'm going to do here, and I show you the slide here. This one sets you up to find a way to do that. So sometimes before letting go, we have to just sort of like leave the door half open. And in tarot, the one thing that would provide that would be the Eight of Cups. It's saying, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a sabbatical. I'm going to get some perspective. I'll figure this out. I don't know today, but I'll know soon. So take some time, figure it out. You've earned that opportunity for sure. And if you're not ready to let go completely, maybe this will help you get to that point. So you can always sort of take a step back and say, let me get back to you on that. Okay? But ultimately, at some point, it feels like you have to commit. And letting go can be a hard thing to do. So for those that are trying to let go, just give yourself a little bit of time, get some perspective, and the decision should be easier. Don't say it before you feel it. Don't do it before you're ready. Okay. Let's go ahead now and look and see what some additional messages would be here with respect to that. All right. So some of you may be feeling like you are kind of separated from or in the dark from what's going on around you. We have a lot of cards of communication and action here, particularly Knight of Wands and Knight of Swords. So the minute you start to open up a little bit, you'll be surprised by how connected you actually are. People are waiting for you to reach out on some levels. So all you have to do is sort of say, yes, I'm ready for this, and reach out. So I see some of you just kind of being in your shell. This is saying come out of your shell. Knight, Knight, Knight. 3 knights. The only ones that we're missing here is the Knight of Cups, right? So the emotional state that you're going through could actually be what's keeping you in. But all around you, I see movement. Don't overexert yourself. For those of you that might be trying to work out a little bit more, maybe for the first time in a while, the 7 and the 9 of Wands can be working out to the point of injury. So work with a professional for sure. You might also be having some muscle pains or bone pains, and that could just be related to your general health or biology. Again, speak to a doctor. These don't come through as much as chronic, more environmental or more acute. and so focus on taking care of that. A lot going on with overthinking or thinking a lot with the 9 of Wands, 7 of Wands, and the Ace of Wands in reverse. So talk it out. I find one of the best things to do when you're stuck with an idea is just to sort of bounce your ideas off of someone that you trust and see how it sounds when you talk. And I think that's an important piece here. Whenever we have something like the 8 of Swords, you always want to pay attention to something that's in your life. Don't sweep it under the rug. Definitely look at your eyesight if you haven't gotten your eyes checked in a while. But otherwise, things are looking pretty good. We do see a recovery card with Judgment. Some of you may have had a close call, but you caught something in time, and Judgment is saying, let's make the most of every day. It's a good attitude to have with respect to each and every day of our life, but sometimes we need the wake-up calls, right, to get there. All right, so health looking overall pretty good. Nothing here that's kind of causing red flags other than like a close call that you're going to catch because you're going to speak up for those of you that might have a persistent issue. But the rest of us, we're just working too hard or having a hard time concentrating. And a lot of this has to do with stress and stress management. All right, moving on to wealth. We have the Lion, which I also am associating with that lovely King of Wands card that we saw in the channel messages. But being bold, speaking up, and thinking of the Wizard of Oz, realizing that you've always had the capacity to do something. You don't need some sort of a plaque or an award. It's the strength is within you, right? And this can also represent, for those of you that have Leo in your charts or Leo in your life, or have just found this sort of hidden strength, it's coming through for sure. Boldness is going to help you out with respect to business. And this would be the King of Wands because we just saw him with the Lion in the channel messages. So leadership for sure. There is competition. I keep picking up on this. So you can establish yourself as deserving of where you're at and who you are and whatever your sort of stature is right now in your life. So just sort of like, I've earned this, this is my space. These are my boundaries. People may be looking to you to just sort of like they're testing these. So how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about if there's any insecurities, you want to work on that because they'll come out right now in career. As I'm looking at this, I'm happy that we got at least one card of resources, and it's a pretty elevated one, the Knight of Pentacles. But here's what I'm seeing with respect to jobs for those of you that are currently working. We'll talk about like retirement and students in a moment, but if you're in a job, it feels like you're not being seen. We have two cards that are clandestine here, the Hermit and the Eight of Swords. This one is saying, I can't see a way out, and this one is saying, I'm either choosing to fly under the radar or I fly under the radar. And this is a card of reinvention or coming out of that shell or leaving. So for some of you, there's this feeling that I don't matter, or I'm not being seen, therefore I'm going to go to a place where I am because I have this energy and it's not working here. And that's okay. So if you're looking to move on, I get an affirmation or confirmation that that's going to happen with the Ace of Wands. It may not be exactly what you expected. So be open to different, this is the unexpected. I wanted this, but this is being offered up instead. So take it because there might be something cool about that if it feels right. If it's just a doubt, like, can I do it? The universe is providing you an ace and saying you can do this. But there is some of you are upset because the first choice wasn't there, but the second could prove better. Interesting sort of message. I always like to remind everybody that rejection is a form of protection and redirection. So if you're redirected to look at this instead, who's to say that this may not be the better path? For those of you that choose to stay in a current situation, coming out of your shell, being bold and saying, I need to do something different. This can happen. We do see you asking for something and you receiving it. The competition is 3 equally talented people. You're actually better than the one that might be raising their hand first. But I see there's at least one other person there's a lot of competition here, but we see good outcome here. An ace and the Judgment card, it means yes. You may not get everything you wanted. It may not be exactly as you expected it, but this is an affirmative. This is a confirmation that things should work out for you. So give it a shot if you want more, if you want to stay. And you may need to pitch an idea or something that doesn't exist yet. And it might have to be put into a contract. So there might be something that doesn't even exist just yet. And let me see if there's anything else that is coming through. For those of you that are students or retired, if you're students, you may be questioning the path that you've chosen. You always get a chance to reimagine or decide or add a minor or a major or add a year if you want to or whatever, budget notwithstanding. So you might be at a point where you're thinking, I need to do something slightly different. The sooner you act on that, the better, obviously, because it costs time, energy, and money if you keep doing something that doesn't make sense. If you're just looking at colleges and universities, don't do something that your parents want but that you don't want. Remember what we said about it has to be mutual. You have to feel attracted to this path. And if you need time, take some time, take 6 months or something. It's better to know than to just go and not sort of feel connected to that. One thing that I did between undergraduate and graduate school was I worked really hard. So I decided to graduate early and then take that time and do an internship overseas. I worked in London for a while. And during that period, I was certain that I didn't want to do what I studied, but I figured out what I wanted to do next. And it was a confirmation that it helped me choose the school and the path. So I was really happy that I took 6 months between degrees rather than just going from one to another. And I worked for a little bit and I got out of the country for a little bit. And, I think 6 months to a year sometimes is fine. You're not losing anything. You got your whole lifetime ahead of you. 1 year gives you a chance to work and to explore, and then you can come back. And we should have gap years. We don't have it in the States, but I think you should take a gap year sometimes and discover, like, is this what I want? Is this what I want? Did this apply here? How do I feel about this? What am I missing? What do I need? And by doing that, I was able to make a better decision. So we should actually factor in at least 6 to 8 months between these big decisions, if not 12, so that someone can get out a little bit, feel what the world is like, and figure out what they want. Super important, okay? And then for those of you that are retired, you may be looking at what's left of life and what you want to do with it. And I think that with the judgment card, we should be doing that every day. We shouldn't wait until we're retired. Make the most of it. I would say with this, let's see what's coming through. Some of you want to do there could be some mentorship, some speaking, some writing here. If there's anything on your bucket list, let's make that the priority over the next half year here, and have some fun. But I think this is true for everyone. Do what's best for you. We're not seeing a lot of cards of family or community here. Have you noticed that? There's no 10 of Pentacles. There's no 10 of Cups. There's no Lovers. There's no 2 of Cups. There's no 6 of Cups. This is a very self-focused sort of spread here. Personal development, and then some of the competition are the people closest to you. But overall, the journey this month for you, Gemini, is one of reinvention, or basically confirmation, confirming that you do want something and really stepping out and being as bold as possible. So doing that brings the strength and the leadership that we see here in this lion, okay? By the way, if you're an adult, there's no reason you can't take a gap year too. So let's say you've worked in a path for 20 years or something, and you're now thinking, do I want to do something different in my life? Maybe the gap year is going to be more like 3 to 6 months, but take a break. That internship was about 8 months. If I add up, it was 6 months, and then I had a couple months before I started school. So I didn't take a full year, but I did like 3/4 of a year. I was really ready to go back to school. I was really ready to come back to the States. Everything felt good, and I was energized. I was inspired. So at least do something like that if you've been working a long time. Also, when I quit my corporate path back in 2015, one thing that I had to allow was about 3 months of adjustment before I was ready to fully put all my energy into what I'm doing now. I started it up, but it wasn't until really like March of that year. I quit in January. It wasn't until March that I really started to feel things kicking into the right gear, until May and June, when everything was magical. So you have to grieve what was lost. You have to build something new. You have to figure things out. So it does take 3 to 6 months to sort of like readjust. So give yourself that period if you need to. All right. let's get back into the next portion here, looking at love and relationships. So I like to look at love and relationships in a broader perspective. If you watched my impromptu, you saw that I did it for either platonic or love. So this works for platonic or love, and we'll go through all the different types of relationships in a second. But let's read the message first. It says, the reward. Celebrate your magnificence. What a gorgeous message here. Definitely do just that. Realize that you've worked hard to accomplish what you've accomplished in your life. And it's this is the right time, this is the right place for your moment to shine. And if there's someone in your life that is having a hard time celebrating you or embracing the true you, then I would say that is indicating more about them, more about their lack of vision or support than anything that you have to bring to this equation. So this is your moment to shine. And that's what we're really getting with these two cards. By the way, let me know if you can hear and see me. My little monitor on the side went off. I'm going to readjust that. And then we're going to look at this in three perspectives. We're going to look at it from the perspective of those of you in a relationship, seeking a relationship, or single and happy. And we'll go from there. I'm just going to reset my iPad on the side so that I can see this hopefully. Sometimes it conks out because it's an older iPad. So hopefully everything's going well here, but I'm just going to test it one more time to make sure. All right, it looks like it is, good. All right, so let's turn the camera down and take a look at the three different perspectives here. Thank you so much. Yeah, I need to just get a new setup here with a different computer on the side. My office is still getting set up, and so I appreciate it. And I had internet issues earlier this week, so that's why I wanted to check it out. Okay, so let's begin with those of you that are already in a relationship. So here's the interesting thing. I'm seeing, right across the center, we have the Hermit. So the Hermit is a card of not necessarily being seen or heard rather. So one of the things that you can do in existing relationships is to basically say, I see you, I hear you, I appreciate you. The way that this could be simply shown is by saying, I love you, or I appreciated that, or just doing something that the person that you love loves. And that's it. It's just showing that you see, that you care, that you're present. So that's step number one for current relationships. The other thing that I see is there's a lot of people showing up. So we have Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Swords, and Knight of Wands. So there's a third party that could be in your life. It does not have to necessarily be an affair or anything of that nature. This could actually be, believe it or not, a friend, a relative, or a parent. But they are kind of getting in between you and the one that you love. And they're questioning things. We look at this, I liked that he was questioning when we're just looking at your spread, but when I'm looking at the two of you, it's sort of like, that's none of your business. Or if I wanted your advice, I would ask for it. And that might be something that you have to say to a third party if they're here. The reason that I'm reading it more as just an objective person or someone, not objective, but someone that's in your life is that we didn't get the Three of Cups. And we didn't get the Nine of Cups. This is just showing up as someone that's getting in between you and the person that you care about. So remind them of spaces, boundaries, and again, if you want their advice, you'll ask for it. Okay, let's see what else is coming through here. There's definitely an energy for those of you that have been in a relationship for a while that may be feeling unseen, unheard, underappreciated. That it might be time to move on. So again, with these two, it's sort of like you have to decide, stay or go. You can also pose that question and ask your partner, what do you want from this? How invested are you? Because I can see that you're invested, but you need a return on the investment, energetic investment. So this is a time to really figure out what you want and if you're both in it for the long haul. Better to know that sooner than later. Okay? One thing that looks like it's falling by the wayside is physical intimacy or closeness. And for any number of reasons that can happen. And you have to decide if that's important, if that's something you want, what you're going to do about that. I definitely see one party interested here with the Knight of Wands, but the other one is not. So figuring out a schedule or figuring out negotiating how much, how often, that's something that is coming up here for existing partnerships. At the end of the day, some of you have just changed. We change. The person that we were when we're 20 is not the person that we are when we're 30, 40, or 80, for that matter. So you have to look and see if energetically, as partners, you've been growing at the same rate, or if one of you's here and one of you's here and you can't bridge the gap anymore, okay? But by and large, with these two cards, if we look at the best, most positive outcome here, communication leads to new understanding. Communication can clear the path for something new. But you may also be communicating that you need freedom here. It's all about you and what you want and sort of stating that. All right, for those of you that are single and looking, you've got a lot of options. You have 3 options coming through. One of them is very focused on their own life and their own work, so I'm not so sure about that. This could also represent you, so one thing you want to be very honest with yourself and with your partner is like how committed you can be. The other one is very outspoken, very very bold, but they're going to say what they want. They may talk more, more than you even want them to. The other one is a lot quieter, but very much shows who they are, very passionate energy. So you have interesting options here. This one probably is doing very well for themselves. They just may be busy. So I see 3 people at different stages in their lives. And for you right now, there's a lot going on. And I think the most important thing is to sort things out. Do you have time and space? Are you ready for this person to come into your life? Because the Hermit's not necessarily ready for all of this energy just yet. So be ready, because when that happens, things start to shift really quickly. Who you were, it's very different after this. So I see rapid changes coming for those of you that are single. Definitely the potential for love. Remember, there needs to be, you have to feel it. You can't fake it. Okay? Single and happy, or focusing on platonic energy, it's a really good time, actually. This can be all kinds of movement when it comes to new partnerships and new developments. You definitely can partner up and get things done. 2 heads are better than 1. You may be stuck. This is a really good time to get some outside perspective. I think for some of you, it's time to move or time to try something different. Because you're not necessarily tethered by someone else, this gives you a lot of freedom. So embrace that freedom and do something fun right now, okay? That, my friends, is love. If you've been working hard, by the way, do something fun to enjoy all this hard work. The reward card is, again, taking a vacation, a holiday, or treating yourself. Otherwise, why are we working so hard, right? Enjoy the time and the energy, and enjoy the company that you have. Focusing now on destiny, we have sacred convergence. Things are starting to come together in a way that they haven't before. This is because of the hard work that you've done. This is because of some things that you set up for yourself out of your body before you were even born. And this is the time to embrace all of those and make the most of them, okay? If things weren't working before or seemed to be sort of like just disparate and out there, now is the time for them to start to come together. So I do see things being more cohesive for you at the end of this month, and to me that's a really great thing. We even have like number 28 there, which could indicate right towards the end when you're starting to wonder, is it going to happen? You get that green light, and everything does work out. Let's shift gears now and take a look at the big idea and see if there's one overarching message for everybody under this sign right now, and see what that is. So now we have the Page of Cups. I'm just seeing if it felt like there was a card stuck, but there is not. All right, so first time we've seen some significant Cups energy that could indicate love or relationships. So this is good. If you are trying to find someone, or if you are trying to clear out energy in love, the Page of Cups is saying, yes, this is the right time for that too. We're going to work on everything else that we talked about, sorting out who you are, what you want, looking at that potential third party that might be getting in the way of you and the one that you love. And then we see happiness, creativity, and a sense of joy here. So I think this is where you're headed. You're headed towards feeling really good and being able to put one foot in the water and say, let's go for this. Let's take a dive. Let's take a deep dive. So I see you being happier as this month progresses, and being more sure of what you want and what you're ready for, and that's really important in any part of our lives. But yeah, love could be coming in. You just have to clear the other stuff up first, okay? just a quick reminder of where we're at. We just went through channel messages, Celtic Cross, and the big idea. Now we're going to look at the next big chunk here, which is blessings and blocks, the viewer's choice, reader's choice, and then sun, rising, moon. So let's get into those components next. Blessings and blocks. Always love to see this. Every month carries with it some good and some meh. We're going to look at both of them and figure out even the not so good provides sometimes a blessing in disguise. So I like to reserve judgment until we see the cards themselves. Okay? So blessings and potential blocks, because you're watching this so early that you can make a block a blessing if you want to. Blessing first, now the block. Okay, so let's pull the cards up here. So the blessing card, this is gorgeous. It's the Five of Wands in reverse, but when we look at it, she's actually like steering a ship. And sometimes with, particularly with a large nautical vehicle like that, it takes time, right? So you can crank that wheel a little bit, but the ship is gigantic and it takes a while for it to move. Think of the movie Titanic where they were trying to avoid the iceberg. Didn't do it fast enough, right? Now in this case, it's not a matter of that. It's just saying like, be patient. Moves and counter moves, they take time to really have an effect. So one thing you want to do is keep your eye on what it is that you're trying to do. The blessing here is that you're aware of the destination or the goal, and you're patient with the amount of time that it's going to take. If we go into the deep past message, we have the Seven of Wands, which has the 5 wands beneath it and the 2 wands at the top. So when you feel lost or stuck, get back into grounding yourself like, why I'm doing this. Always keep your eye on the horizon and know that this is work well worth it. You're working hard and the hard work is paying off. Remember, your outcome card was Judgment, okay? So I like what I'm seeing so far. We just have to stay focused on purpose, on power, and you'll be all right. The block this month could be fatigue. 4 of Swords happens when you need a rest, when you're not sleeping or resting as much as you could or should. So this is a chance for you to lean into that a little bit more and to take care of yourself, okay? So the block is manageable. The other thing that could be happening is malaise or boredom with the 4 of Swords. So I would say if it's more an issue of I feel uninspired or I feel disconnected, then what you want to focus on with that is why? Is it a matter of this doesn't feel right for me, or is it a matter of I'm not being encouraged? That recognition piece is key. So you could talk to, this is more effective if you're in a job, but you could just say, it's been a long time since there's been a raise or any sort of acknowledgement of the work that's done, and I don't do it solely for that, but that is important. So I need to know where I stand, et cetera, et cetera. So something needs to be jump-started. So either get some rest or reconnect to the purpose, or realize that maybe the environment that you're in, it's not receptive. So by the way, you can't force a 4 of Swords to react. In modern day, this is ghosting. 4 and 6 can be ghosting to different degrees. But the 4 of Swords, someone's just giving you the silent treatment and hoping that you get the point because they don't want to say it. So if there's something going on and someone consistently doesn't show up, doesn't reply, doesn't do what they say they're going to do, they're not invested. And you deserve much more than that. So my advice for you, Gemini, would be to fight for something better, or not fight for something better, but just find something better in your life where the energy is being received. Part of the thing that, the reason that I moved as well was just because there was no cooperation. And it wasn't just me, there was a whole, like the whole apartment was under construction and it was affecting everybody living there. But they didn't listen to anybody that lived there. A lot of us worked from home. Some people were older and retired, and the constant noise was really difficult and they didn't communicate it. So I just realized at the end of the day, why am I talking to someone who's just not listening? So that's okay. I could choose to stay or go. They're running a company. It's like anything else. You can take your energy and go somewhere else. So in a relationship, if someone never calls, in a job, if someone never listens, in an apartment complex, if they take your money but they don't care about you, then you understand, all right, there's better places to go. There's better ways to be. So take non-action or lack of action from someone in action as actually That is communication. Silence is a form of communication. Not the best, but it is a form. So the block may be simply that you can't get a response, but that is a response, okay? So interpret it as you will, but for many of you, you may say enough is enough, right? Okay, let's move to the viewers and the readers' choices. So let me grab the keyboard and let's take a look at the messages, figure out how we can get some clarity for Gemini this month. Okay, let me just take another drink while we're doing this. Okay. Recognition is thematically something that keeps coming through, right? So let's put that up there here. So I'm just going to put it as a single word because it could be like what you need to recognize or how people need. Yeah, I'm just going to say recognition. We'll let the card say what needs to happen there. I'll say understanding, recognition or lack thereof. Okay. The next thing is trusting what you feel. For some of you, I'm going to put stay or go because that's what's happening with this one. Okay. To stay or to go. And the next thing that I want to look at is how to get inspired. I'll also give you a chance to just have me pull a wild card. Whatever Spirit wants. Okay, so you have a choice to vote on some options now. I'm going to look at, let's see. I want to really understand the dynamics. For those of you that are stuck in a situation, we're going to look at third parties or external points of view. So how to deal with people. I know not everyone is in a love relationship, but you may have a gatekeeper. Okay, I'm going to retitle this. Understanding gatekeepers or third parties. So for those of you that are single, this is just someone that's standing between you and something that you want. For those of you that are in a relationship, it could be someone coming between you and the person that you love. So this will work either way. It's a gatekeeper or a distractor. What is the information around this person that seems to be pushing themselves between you and the next thing in your life, or the most important thing in your life? Let's see. It is all about power, and it's all about you stepping into that. So let's take a look here at this. We have the bright and sunny Emperor card lighting up, saying, this is not who I am, or this is not appropriate, or basically just sort of standing up and saying what they want. So stand your ground, speak up, you're going to be okay. This is just a test, basically. This person, very much parental energy here with the Emperor, father-mother energy. As a friend, they seem to think that they know best. And so you're just going to show, actually, I know what I'm doing, I know what I want. And again, reminding people that when and if you're interested in their feedback, you'll reach out and you'll let them know. And that's a sort of nice and subtle way of saying, stop. But this person is used to getting their way, okay? And that's what I'm getting here. And a lot of times they have nothing better to do, so they just might be focusing on other people's lives. A little nosy, butting in where they maybe shouldn't, and you're going to be able to deal with this just fine based on what I'm looking at here. It's just standing your ground or pushing back a little bit, okay? In the case of mom and dad, it gets harder over time, but I talked about this before when I was discussing like coming out or things like that. There was a point where my parents weren't accepting of me, and then later in my life, especially when my dad was older and he was dealing with many sicknesses actually, I just basically said, enough now. If you reject me again, I reject your rejection. We don't have time for this anymore. And everybody laughed in the room because, I was a full-grown adult when I said that, but I really do believe that at some point it's like, you're either okay with this or you're not. So stand in your power, be strong about it, have a sense of humor about it. I did when I said that. They knew I wasn't going to be cutting them out or anything, but I was just like, come on, let's get over this. Let's focus on other things, including your health. This is small, but it's important. So I think that's going to be key for you, is just to stand your ground. It doesn't have to be dramatic. And if it is, then just say, I don't have time for this. Come back to me when you've sorted it out. I love you, but you're acting silly. Okay? and let that go. All right, let's see what's being chosen for me. The wild card. Okay, I like a wild card, so let's just see what we haven't covered yet. This is really cool. So thanks for picking wild card, and we'll see. Universe, what does Gemini need to see, need to know that they have not yet asked or that I have not yet seen? Okay. So now we have the King of Cups. Relationships and love and happiness. It's your turn. It's your turn. We've now got the King card, and I believe it's the first king that I've pulled aside from that Emperor. Yes. And it actually is the answer to the question that I was looking at. Your happiness is more important than this person's approval, because that is someone who thinks they have the power over you, but you, a king, they're just two kings. So you are choosing happiness in this moment. And it's okay to choose happiness. And yes, for those of you that are single and happy, or single and looking, or single and happy, love or friendship could be coming into your life. And even if you're in a relationship, something really cool is happening where someone out there is appreciating you. There is external appreciation, and then there's also this internal feeling like, I choose happiness. It sounds silly to say that, but it is important to think that sometimes. I choose change. I choose happiness. I welcome the path to these two things. I heard someone talking about how they manifest, and I liked this too, and it's for like the benefit of all and the harm of none. So you're going to be able to achieve your happiness without hurting anyone, actually possibly by helping everyone, and it's going to happen sooner and better than you imagined. When you manifest, put that cherry on top. It can always be something faster, better, more abundant, richer than you thought. Happiness is your divine right. And that's the message here. Okay? We came to this planet to learn, but also to love, and to love ourselves, and to experience joy and happiness. Joy, happiness, and love, that is God. So if you feel more of that in your life, you're closer to God, right? So get into the joy, get into the love, get into the happiness. People that take the joy away, they're not worth it. I was thinking about this, talking to someone who was wondering about, like, should I spend time with this person, just hanging out? But every time they talked about that person, they would tell me, like, they make me feel worse. So I reminded them of that, and that helped clarify the answer. They had the answer because they'd already told me that before. If you hang out with someone and you feel deflated afterwards, why would you wantingly choose to kind of spend more time with them, right? So choose situations and people in your life that amplify or build or foster the love and joy, not that deplete or deflate or remove it. It's a pretty deep message, so thank you, Spirit, and thank you for choosing that. Okay, let's move on to the sun, rising, and moon messages. I like to remind folks that you can use it for any aspect of your chart. You can cross-watch, etc. But I know a lot of us, myself included, will tune into the different aspects of our chart sometimes. So you want to know what's going on with sun, rising, and moon. This is your moment, just depending on where your placement is. It also helps you fine-tune things here with respect to today's reading. So let's shuffle the cards and see what's coming through. Sun, rising. So many lions, and it is the Lion's Gate, but yes, so many lions today. Sun, rising, and moon. Okay, so beautiful. This is a beautiful deck, isn't it? Really love the cards, so good choice on that as well. Let's begin with sun sign messages for Gemini, and it is a little messy with this card, so that was an appropriate slip of the tongue here. So we have the Ten of Swords. But look at the beautiful sort of image coming up from that person. So with the Ten of Swords, there's always a choice. Do I choose to stay and feel and fixate, or do I rise above and move on? You've gone through something difficult, some of you, in order to approach and feel and experience something better. Something better awaits. And that's the main message here is, whatever challenge you're facing, something better is on the other side. Going way back to this thread, you may only see the beginning of that rainbow, but that rainbow is coming through. So sun sign especially, It feels like it's done. We see this person down the stairs. We see the past behind them. They actually don't have all 10 swords in them. They have the 3 of swords around them, which is actually pretty appropriate. It is just this final acceptance. I accept that something that I wanted didn't come out the way that I thought it would, and I choose to move on. Some of you may be going through some chronic pain or fatigue. Take care of that. Focus on that. There may be someone in your life that's going through something that I talked about akin to that, and focus on that as well. There's always a new dawn after the 10 of swords, and if we look at the sky behind the figure here, we can see that it's breaking. Clouds are breaking left and right in this spread, okay? So if you remember the final message that I had, I'm going to pull it up even if you didn't, which was basically saying every day is a clean slate. That is the message here for the sun sign especially, would be to focus on today is a new day and let there be a clean slate, letting go of what you were holding on to, and simply take one step after another and create something newer, brighter, and better. Okay, so starting anew. This is done. This does not necessarily mean for sun sign that you have to go through it. It's saying something's ended. There are a few cards that would constitute a full stop in tarot. It would be death, judgment, 6 of swords, 4 of swords. You got the 4 of swords too. It was under the block. So you already have a bunch of cards showing movement. So the big question here is, do I accept the movement or do I reject the movement? And I'm going to sort of stay stuck for a little bit. So sun signs, I want you to embrace the movement. I want you to focus on each day being a clean slate and think about what you want to do with that clean slate. Going from sun to rising. Okay, so Gemini rising, you've got it. You've got this sorted out. We have probably the most playful strength card that I've seen in any deck. And look at the 2 suns. It's almost like Tatooine, right? In the original Star Wars. But this could be twin star energy coming through for you. For those of you that maybe even weren't looking for love, there could be a very strong either love or platonic relationship, best friend energy coming through where you just feel this undeniable connection. Could be a Leo as well. The interesting thing here is you have what it takes to travel into that kind of relationship if it comes through. You are mirroring one another, as we see with this beautiful reflection on the lake it looks like a lake. The other thing with this is your strength and your resolve may be tested this month. You have what it takes. Remember, there's so many times this image keeps coming through. This is the 3rd time because I also had it in my channeled messages. So Lion, special for you today, important for you. You have the strength, you have the courage, you have the wherewithal. And one thing that's really important, we see it in here, there's a relaxed energy. Most modern decks don't show the woman opening up the mouth of the lion, showing dominance over the lion, even though that's something cool in this. We like to see strong divine feminine energy. What I don't love seeing is domination energy in the tarot, so we don't need to do that. We know she can. We know the lion could snap back, but neither is choosing to exert their domination. Instead, they are having fun. They are enjoying equal power energies here, and that's the key here. It's not greater than and less than. It's we are equal. And if you don't see me as equal, then I'm moving into a direction where people do see me as an equal. I don't need to fight. I don't need to show you. I don't need to force you to do something. I choose a path of openness and a lack of that kind of resistance because it's not worth the precious time and energy. Pretty powerful though. I will take the strength card any day if that comes through as a single card reading. It just means that you've got what it takes, okay? So good month ahead for all of you. By the way, this is going to show up in work and in how you're projecting yourself out to the world. So you're coming across as pretty strong. There may be somebody that tests you, but they won't test you again. One time they'll test you and then they know what they're dealing with, okay? So you've got this. Moving from rising to moon, things you might be discovering about yourself, things you might be holding deep inside, things that might just come through and you'll learn here. We have the Queen of Cups. We have partner energy because we also got the King of Cups for the wild card. So for some of you that are looking for love, this is great confirmation. For the friendships as well that we saw here, Also getting confirmation of that twin energy coming through. But by and large, a good month for you to express your creativity, to put yourself more into energy of love and relationships, and to be a gentle leader, because the Queen of Cups is probably one of, if I wanted a boss, I would love the Queen of Cups right now. I don't want a boss right now, but if I needed a boss or a manager, not so much a manager, but I would say just a boss. This is someone who wants you to grow, cares about who you are, allows you to be creative. So you are nurturing and kind of expressing all of that energy. It would be fun to be around that. So it's a very attractive and a very welcoming energy that you're putting out in the moon this month here, the moon sign here for Gemini. So that's great. That, my friends, is your sun, rising, and moon energy. By the way, Cancer could be coming in, or another water sign like Pisces, etc. So be open to that if you're looking for love. All right. Let's get ready now for the final portion. We've gone through everything. We're going to do a meditation sound bath, and then I'm going to pull a final card. Before I do any of that, however, quick reminder, we're very close. We're actually only 1,000 away from my goal for 325,000. So once we get, and I think it's even a little bit under that, it might be like 900 and some change. So I think absolutely within a month, I'll be able to do the special Q&A. So that'll be fun for all of us. So let's keep subscribing if you haven't before, so I can get to that milestone, and then I'll give back to all of you. Hit the notification bell so that we can also keep up to date of all the changes. Join me on social if you haven't already. The link will be pinned in the comments below or here in the live chat. Avoid any imposters. Know that I don't offer private readings, and I don't use direct messages ever unless you've reached out to me and reported someone. If you'd like to show some love and support, you can do it in real time here, and I'll thank you at the end. Okay, let's get ready for the meditation. We're going to take a quick look at all the cards on the table. And I love this sort of gentle energy moving towards the rainbow that we see. In fact, what I'd like to really focus on is bringing in the energy of the rainbow to you. And then, of course, the repetitive and very strong energy that we kept getting from the lion. So we're going to use both in the meditation. Before we meditate, take a moment and write down whatever final question. It works a lot like the wild card, but this is going to be more something that you decide. So if there's a question that you have specific to something in your life, don't put it in chat just yet. Instead, focus on putting it, just kind of keeping it in your head or writing it on paper, okay? All right, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and I want you to imagine that you are waking up to a new day. For those of you that have ever lived in an environment where there is a lot of fog or mist or whatever, you can imagine that this is what it looks like. You can see the sun starting to burn through the fog and the mist, and there might be an area where there was a little bit of rain, and you see this beautiful spectrum of light starting to show through, a beautiful rainbow, all the different bands of light. And unlike a traditional rainbow where you couldn't maybe technically walk through it, this one in your dream you can, or in this meditation you can. So imagine that you're walking up towards this beautiful rainbow, and as you look into the water to the side of you, you see you are represented by an animal totem, which is the beautiful lion energy. There's a card in the Light Seers deck where we can kind of see her half lioness, half female. So you can imagine that you are kind of half animal, half human, and you're carrying with you the strength and the courage of that beautiful lion totem. And you see some butterflies leading you towards this beautiful rainbow, and it's actually a bridge. You realize this now. Take a walk across this bridge toward a better tomorrow, toward a better today, because for those of us here on the West Coast, there's still time. So let's imagine whatever time is left in today or tomorrow, you're walking towards a better path. Each step that you take, you let go of one hurt, one piece of sadness, one thought that's resounding in your head. And you're focusing instead on I can, I will, I am, a new mantra that I've been sort of putting out there into the universe. I can, I will, I am. Showing the capability, showing the resolve, and then showing the actual presence of it. And with each step, I can, I will, I am. You see the lights in the rainbow getting brighter. You see your energy getting stronger and brighter too. You can imagine that this beautiful gold that I'm wearing is also what's coming through your solar plexus. And then when you get to the other side of the rainbow, just sit there for a moment and let the light and the energy sit in and absorb as I am playing the singing bowl here. So just relax for a few minutes and I'll be right back. Take a few deep breaths. Allow your energy to come back into your body. Looking up at the sky, see that a new day is upon you. The brilliance and the bright light from the sun is also within you, just like that twin sun card that we were looking at, showing the strength here. You found that same strength, that same power, and you are mirroring back what's being reflected at you, also showing your own light and your own colors as well. Take a few deep breaths, and on the next natural exhale, open your eyes, and then we're going to take a look at the final card. Okay, welcome back everybody. Open your eyes if you haven't already. If you need to kind of snap back into your body, you can rub your hands together, put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that, and focus now on that final question that you have for me. Fantastic. All right, we have the King of Wands coming through for this, which is a wonderfully powerful card, actually connected to what I put way back in the beginning. Let's talk about this, and then I'll reconnect it to the King of Wands that I had in my channeled messages. But what I love about this King of Wands is he has the cat right there on his back. We typically see cats, panthers, some sort of feline figure in the Wands cards, because it's showing the ability for you to be in tune with your intuition. 9 lives, so if you've failed at anything before or had difficulty with anything before, your luck has changed. You've changed, you've made new luck. I talk about luck in a different sort of range here. It's really your manifestation. So you're ready to manifest, and you are manifesting something better, brighter right now. It's a yes. It's a yes with an exclamation point, and it's saying you have what it takes. You can do this, you are doing this, but there's a leadership and an accountability and a power that comes with this particular card. And as long as you are willing and ready to step up to the plate, yes. It's the ultimate boss. This is like CEO, basically, energy. So, and I don't really read gender, I'm just looking at the order of the cards. So Queen would be near the top, King is the top. Queen is a good boss card too, but this is basically saying if you have any shadow of doubt, you can do this in this moment in time. The most important thing is to listen, however, to your intuition, because he may overthink it, but the cat right behind his head is like, don't forget, remember this, remember that you can do this, remember that you're magical. And it's not over until it's over, okay? Looking at the card that I wrote right before the reading, I always like it when there's a synchronicity and we see a connection between the two, but let's quickly look at this slide. And I chose it from a different deck here, but same sort of energy, okay? And it's, again, just a different type of cat in this card. So we got the lion again coming through here. And I was saying, just as the moth proved to be an explorer and an innovator, by the way, the moth is your totem, you too have the chance to embark on new endeavors. I chose this card because of the boldness of the energy. So break free of what's predictable, focus on creating something new, truly connect to what you're doing on a heart and a soul level. That is what I was discerning and kind of pulling out from the King of Wands energy. Plus he's bold, plus he's powerful. This one's a little bit more gentle, but all of them, we have a lot of feline energy, a lot of cats coming through today for you. So cats to me are stealthy, sneaky, smart, intuitive, good resources, and have the ability to, like the Judgment card, rise again. Okay, good month for you. So as a yes, no, it's a yes. As a general advice card, it's leadership, and it's saying you're going to have to listen to intuition, but also show strength in the face of others, and that's what I'm getting here. And there could be a really strong fire sign in your life that has come through multiple times today, okay? So hopefully that helps. Let me take a quick drink here, and I'm going to say thank you. I'm sorry, we'll go to the thanks card here, and just give some gratitude for everybody that showed up. Let's begin with just that. If it was your first time here, I hope you've become a subscriber, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos. I know a lot of you have been with me from 2015 or before. I actually started doing some original videos around 2013 and 14. More of those are on Facebook, but yeah, I've been around for a while, and I'm appreciative of all of you that have been here for this entire journey, so thank you so much. If you did give back today a little bit in the way of becoming a member or subscribing, or, well, membership and stickers, I'm going to call that out right now. I can't see the subscribers, but give me a moment here just to express gratitude, and then we'll get into the next portion here, which is just me signing off. But a reminder, by the way, I did put up the weekend video, so you can click a reminder, and then Cancer for Monday, and I'll try to get the schedule up over the next couple of days here, so thank you. Like I said, I just moved in on Monday, so I'm still getting settled here. All right, today, it looks like we have a few new members. So Jill Sheets, thank you so much, brand new, good to have you here. Dolce Ramirez, Daily, thank you so much as well, brand new member. Kayla C, also brand new. I think those constitute all the newest. I saw Pamela, I think, joined overnight. So thanks to all of those folks for becoming part of this family, extended family. For those that gave back with a super sticker or a super chat, let me just acknowledge you, and then we'll wrap up. So Monica kicked things off today. Thank you so much, Monica. And Dolce, thank you as well. That's both contribution and a membership, so really nice to have both. I appreciate that. And I'm glad you like the new place. Me too. It actually, I have to pinch myself. It's like night and day, literally, like the two places. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Debbie McGinnis, thank you so much. And thank you for the housewarming blessings there as well. Tony McLaughlin, Lovey Wyman, and Bonnie Hagan, thank you all for your love, your support, and your contributions. And let's see if I missed anybody. I think that's everyone. Okay, thank you so much. I'll be continuing to do some new impromptus as time allows, and then I want to get back into my one card pulls. I've just, like I said, I'm getting all my decks unpacked, getting everything sort of like sorted out here at this end. So thank you for the patience. I should be back into the normal schedule of everything by next week. So from Apollo and I, he's back there sleeping in his bed. But from the two of us, I wish you the best. Have a great weekend, a great month ahead. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Until I see you again, lots of love and light. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.